Thank you very much for joining today. We are from American Express in technology. We have myself and 3 of our lovely apprentices, Z, Chloe and Hugo, which will be sharing their experiences of being on the apprenticeship and answer any questions you may have as we go through. The next slide. So the early careers team is myself and my colleague Dee Sumner, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today. But we are project managers for the early careers in apprenticeship. So we manage the technical apprenticeships at American Express. We are going to go through today what the apprenticeship is, how do you apply, and all the different components of that, whether it's on the job or classroom learning. Next slide.
There you go.
So our apprenticeship at American Express. So you may or may not know what an apprenticeship is. An apprenticeship is where you are learning on the job. So you're getting paid, you're doing a normal 9 to 5, and then you are doing 20% classroom learning. So at American Express, what 20% is 7 hours of your week should be dedicated to your learning. At American Express, we've partnered with Corndell, and because we're offering a technology apprenticeship, we're with Corndell Digital, so that brings in a third-party provider, Softwire, and what they do is they look after our apprentices and train them up and give them the education to enable them to pass their qualification. The apprenticeship that we offer for software engineering, which is what we're currently recruiting for, is a level 4, and you will also get Java certified. Having a Java certification is amazing because it is highly sought after, not only at American Express, but also externally in the market. It's very hot property. So this is a very hands-on course, as it mentions. We really want you to get the full experience. It will be full working on real life projects. You won't be given sort of make-believe stuff. We like you to get started as soon as possible. And we just want to better your education and understanding, not only through your classroom learning, but within the company and with your placement team. What placement looks like is we sort of do a matchmaking process once we've come up with, we've offered to our candidates that have applied, and we send you out a profile to which you will, please excuse my doorbell going off there. So we will provide you with some questions so we get a feel of what you're trying to get out of the apprenticeship. What your preferences are, whether that's full stack, back end, front end. And then we have all of our placement teams, so all of our technology teams that have reached out to us and has said that would like to have an apprentice. And then what we do is we sort of find what the placement team is offering, what you would like as the apprentice, and make a match to place you in a team that we feel that you would succeed and really enjoy, because that's the main thing. Okay, next slide.
1 second. There you go.
Perfect. So what this slide is, it's basically going through what I'm offering at the moment. So we are offering a 18-month program. What we're offering right now would have a start date of the 6th of September next year. We do it every academic sort of year, and we onboard in September of each year. We have 2 open roles this year, so it's our first year offering to London and Burgess Hill. Normally and historically, we've only done Burgess Hill. London, because of the London weighting, you will get £24,000 per year. Burgess Hill is £22,000 per year. That is also inclusive of all of the benefits and our pension scheme, our private healthcare cover, and you also get put in for our year-end appraisals. So you'll do a mid-year, an end year, and that actually gives you some extra money too. So that gives you a bonus, which we normally get in a February payday, and then you get a pay increase annually as well. So lots of exciting things up for grabs. As I mentioned before, it is a level 4. So that is the equivalent of a first year at university. And then you also get Java certified as well. We don't just, when we bring you on board, get you involved in just your training and your placement team. We have a whole host of things that we put on for our apprentices, whether it's social events, charity events, 101 sessions. What 101 sessions are because you are fixed in a placement team for 18 months, you may have interest from speaking to your peers or other colleagues about other areas of technology. So we encourage apprentices to tell us what they've heard about, what they've got an interest in, what they want to learn further. And then we get a speaker that's sort of a subject matter expert in that field to do an overview session. Not only do we just do sort of the overview sessions, we also do things called 5+, and that is where you get 5 days each year to take off normal work and focus on your learning. So if I wanted to upskill in a new technology, if I wanted to find out some more about the business side of American Express, it can literally be anything you would like that's going to better you as a colleague and upskill you in some sort. And you can take those 5 days as an opportunity to learn a bit more. Okay, next slide.
1 second. There you go.
Lovely, thank you. So our modules. So with regards to modules, this is your sort of training plan whilst you're on the apprenticeship. So we have 11 modules across 18 months. You'll see the beginning 2. These are a part of a boot camp that we do, which we'll talk about in a second. And then you can sort of get a gist for the different types of learning that you will be doing. Some people get nervous that it's just going to be Java solely focused. It definitely isn't. You'll see quite a bit of Java on there. That's to help assist your learning for Java and for the Java certification. But we also go through a variety of other things as well, as you can see on this slide. We also, though you will get a Java certification, you can take your path anywhere. I have some junior engineers at the moment that are fully front end, purely learnt Java to get their Java certification, but they'd much prefer to stay in the front end regions. But yeah, it's completely up to you. We also get some apprentices that maybe start as back end and think that's where their passion is. But then they decide a few months in, that's not really for me, I would prefer to do front end, which is fine. This is a benefit of us being a global organization. All companies have positives and negatives to their size. I definitely think one of our positives is the flexibility to be able to move and experience different things because you're working to such a large team. So it's really flexible if you want to explore other interests that you may have or other capabilities that our tech organization offers. Apprentices, anything to add on modules that you think would be useful?
Only that, I think modules like 3 to 11, by the time you get to that stage, you would have such a good understanding, or you'd have a deeper understanding of, you'd be more comfortable in using the languages and you'd understand what most of those things were at that point. So it does get easier by that point, I think. Like,
yeah, for sure. Did I cut someone off there?
Nope.
Okay. And I think what's great as well is what we tend to find, which we'll talk about in a second, the boot camp. When apprentices finish the boot camp, it's a bit daunting going into your placement team for the first time. You think it's a bit of a case of imposter syndrome, thinking, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. This is all super tricky. I don't understand what they're talking about, which is completely normal and to expect. Like, we don't expect anything more from you than to just sit, absorb and learn and take on everything that is being thrown your way. You'll never be left sort of in the lurch. You have a placement leader, which will help you with sort of your on-the-job learning. And you'll also get buddies and things from your team to help you along the way. So someone you can always reach out to and ask questions. Also, we do a thing called buddy families now, seeming as we are virtual for the moment. So buddy families are great. You meet a couple of times a month, and it's a mixture of graduates and apprentices with all different tenures. So the new apprentices and new grads can have a network of people to reach out to for various support, whether it's soft skills, whether it's where do I find payroll, to actual technical learning as well, which is a really nice touch. But we do tend to find, seeing as you start in September, some people pick it up sooner than others. That's great if you do, but we do tend to find after Christmas and when we all come back in January, things start to solidify, and it's almost like a light bulb moment. You'll come into work one day and everything suddenly starts making sense, and all of these pieces you were concerned about are all fitting together, and you can understand what is going on and really get involved in the various user stories that you were given to work on, and start really putting your mind to some real life work towards a bigger project. Okay, perfect. If we can go to the next one, please. Bootcamp training.
There you go.
Lovely. So bootcamp training. So what we do when we bring you on in September is you have an induction week with your fellow cohorts and also the graduate cohort as well. And why we do this is we take on 12 apprentices per year. Hopefully we'll expand in the future, but for September we're recruiting for 12. And what that means when we bring you on with the grads, it just means that your network of people that you know is that little bit bigger than just your other 11 peers in your cohort. It also makes it nice because the grads rotate. So at some point, you'll probably have a graduate in your team as well. So you get to already have those relationships. What also we do is a variety of educational sessions about our company, our brand, our culture, the various different things we have going on and networks you can join. We do a charity event, and we also have different info share sessions on the technology, or we get our senior leaders to come and talk to you and welcome you into the company. So it's generally quite a fun, nice week. It all seems a bit daunting when you first come in because we bombard you with information, but we don't expect you to retain it straight away. That is what D&I are here for, the Apprenticeship alumni and your various different other networks of support. So after that welcome week, you then begin your bootcamp training with Corndale Digital, which is Softwire. So Softwire, you'll have a trainer. When we're in the office, they come into the office to teach you sort of classroom style. But for the moment, we're all on a platform called WebEx, which is similar to Zoom, where the training is delivered. And in that bootcamp, your first 3 weeks is going to be going over sort of the basics, as you can see on the plan on the screen, various different technologies, languages, And then we break into the group projects. Now, the group project, I may be wrong, I'll get apprentices to comment because they've actually lived it, but I think is a great way to get you ready for your team. We worked something called Agile, so it's the way in which we work, which is basically we work to 2-week sprints. So you'll take a user story, which is a criteria of a change or implementation that needs to be added to a product or service. And then you have 2 weeks to do your user story to get that completed, to then test your change or amendment or addition. So the group projects, you get split into teams, to which you have to create a new page or some added functionalities to a web page. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, you then present to D&I, which is always fun to see each year, the different things that people come up with. But it's just getting you ready in that mindset of working to every 2 weeks. Working in a team, what are the different roles you have in a Scrum team, and also lost my train of thought there. So yeah, it's basically just getting you ready for real life work. Apprentices, is there anything interesting you'd like to share about the bootcamp training or what you've learned from that? Was it beneficial?
Only the thing I would say is this bootcamp is great for getting you, if you have no understanding of any language like Java or anything like that, if you have no experience in coding or minimal experience in coding, this is a great way to just get you ready for when you go into your team. And by the time you finish the bootcamp, when you join your team, you realize how much you've learned and how much more comfortable you are being in that environment. Because I would say the boot camp is, quite intense. Every day you're coding and you're doing something new nonstop, and every day can be challenging if you want it to be. I think that's also important, is that in the boot camp you can take away whatever you put in. If you are cruising through the boot camp, you might not learn as much as challenging yourself to experiment and learn the different frameworks or whatever is being presented to you. So it's can be quite fun and challenging if you are in that mindset.
Thanks, Z. Chloe and Hugo have not long come off their boot camp as they joined us in September this year. Is there anything, key takeaways or learnings that you found, either of you, in the boot camp training?
I would say less from like a technical point of view, but it's a really good opportunity to get to know the other apprentices you're working with in your cohort. And we organized so that even when we split into our separate teams, we still meet up on a call every Friday. So I think, as well as it being intense, you've got to also know that it will be fun and you'll get to know people, which is not really technical, but different.
No, I love that, Chloe. Thank you for sharing. That was another thing I was going to add, is it definitely does bring the cohort together. And I love that Chloe's got that feedback from a virtual environment as well, because Z is a 2019 apprentice, so he joined us last year. And definitely you guys being in a room together solidly for 5 weeks, 5 days a week, definitely brought you more comfortable amongst each other and closer as a group as well. So I'm glad that you had that same response, Chloe, virtually, and that the process still works virtually. That's always good to know. Hugo, have you got anything to add? It's fine if not.
Yeah, it's just great for practicing, really, especially if you do a lot of, well, not a lot, but just a bit of preparation before you show up, and you already know the basics. You do a bunch of practice projects, so and you're getting constant feedback on those projects. So if you use the time for that, then it's great.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys, for sharing your experiences and your takeaways. So, Simon, if we could go to the next slide, please, the training schedule.
Yep, there you go.
Perfect. Okay, so the training schedule. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about the classroom based training, which is sort of 20% of your week. But what else is included in your apprenticeship in the learning part? So we obviously have the ongoing training for 18 months, but we also have a couple of exams. I think everyone's favorite exam of the two is definitely the BCS methodologies exam. This one, you have a 5-day boot camp before sitting the exam, and it's multiple choice, which I think I can speak on the behalf of most is a preferred exam. You know the right answer is in front of you. You just got to work out which one it is. So yeah, we have the BCS methodologies, which we usually sit around June time. We then do a portfolio to which you get a designated person that helps support your journey through writing your portfolio. And what the portfolio is, you get given a set criteria, which is basically a tick box list that you've just got to go through and work your way through of experiences within the working environment. So what we can do, again, another positive with working with such a large organisation, if there's something on there that your team doesn't do, we have so many more teams that we can pop you in for a couple of weeks or a month to help better your understanding and your learning and to tick off in your criteria for your portfolio. Your portfolio is heavily technically swayed. You'll be writing a lot about different tech criterias and things that you've learned technically, but also there's a nice bit at the end of extra credits. And what we like to ensure all of our apprentices get is a chance to experience all of the extra credit. So, for example, something like the apprentices that are participating today doing these talks, that definitely goes in there. Our charity events, different internal events, a whole host of variety of things to help get you a better grade as well. But you will experience at American Express, which is lovely. And lastly, we have the beast, which is the OCA Java exam. However, we're looking to maybe change that this year because Microsoft have brought out a version of a Java certification, which is a bit more user-friendly and a little bit nicer. So sorry, Z, you got the hard one. Chloe and Hugo, good news for you. I think you'll be taking the Microsoft one. But yes, the Java is definitely the hardest part, I'm not going to lie, of the apprenticeship, which I'm sure Z can back me up on. But hard work, lots of revision, really utilize the people that you have around you, the different training materials, ask questions in training, and you will definitely succeed. We're not setting you up for failure. We put all these things in place to help you succeed. After you've completed the Java exam, you then get entered into something we call endpoint assessment. So this means that you've done all your exams, you've done your portfolio, and then we give you something called a synoptic project, to which you take 5 days off work and you are given by our training provider a project to work on where you've got to build, I believe, a program or site, which is very interesting. We've got our first batch of 2019 apprentices. I think Z's up first on Monday, getting ready for that. So that'll be really exciting to see. And I think it's going to be quite fun. After you've done all of that body of work, your apprenticeship learning has stopped and you've got a couple of months fully 100% in your team. We will be asking you to join an interview with the BCS, which is the British Computer Society, and they will be asking you questions about your portfolio, your experience at the job. So it's all a whole host of different things. And after that, you'll get your certificate where you'll get a level 4 diploma as a software developer, and you'll also be Java certified. Now, at the end of the 18 months, I can't promise you a job with a shiny red bow on. I wish I could, but that isn't how the apprenticeship works. We are hoping that you make great impressions within your team. Equally, you don't have to secure a permanent role within your placement team. You may find another team super interesting and want to go and apply for them. But it is up to you to put your best foot forward, take all the opportunities, network with colleagues at American Express, and apply for these permanent positions, to which you will no longer have the junior in front of your software engineering job title. You will just be a software engineer. Perfect. Anything that anyone wants to add about sort of the training schedule from the apprentices, whether it's Java, BCS, portfolio? I think Z's probably the only one that can really talk to this.
No, not really. I think it's by the time you get to that point where you're doing the portfolio happens naturally because you're working on all those elements that are required in the portfolio. The OCA exam, by the time you go to take it, you should be at a stage where you, like with a bit of revision, you will pass. But yeah, they're all. I think the methodologies is the easiest.
Everyone prefers the methodologies. Okay, thank you, Z. If we could move on to the next slide.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect. So what happens next? So once you are offered a role, we then enroll and onboard you to not only American Express, but to our training provider. So we have to put you through some eligibility checks. And then we get a bespoke plan created for you guys. You then do your onboarding and induction with Softwire and Corndell, and then with American Express. So if anyone applies and secures the role, I will be onboarding you also to the company. And then you start your program. So it's all very exciting. It is a bit of a wait, I'm not going to lie. So we recruit now, and our final stages of interview finish in February. And then you've obviously got February till September to wait. But I will remain in contact, and there's lots of things that we can get up to and do, and you can start meeting your cohort in that sort of period that we're waiting. Perfect. If we could go to the next slide.
Yeah, yeah.
Lovely. So our apprentices. So currently we have 2 cohorts running. We have 2019s and 2020s. We currently hold a 25% female, which we are hoping to improve for the future. We are seeing a huge rise this year, not only in applicant volumes. So our numbers are super high of applicants this year, which is fantastic. We've got so many young aspiring people wanting to start their career in engineering, but also a lot more females, which is fantastic for us, because tech can definitely do with some more females joining us and engineers. So that's great. You'll see that we've got 2 sort of testimonials there from Cami and Henry. I shan't read through, but it just says a bit about their experience and their biggest takeaways from the apprenticeship. We also have a huge mix of college leavers and career changers. And when I say career changers, that means that from college, you've not straight away gone into education. You may have done a job, you may have traveled, you may have started a degree in something completely irrelevant, or started a computer science degree and then thought, this isn't for me. So have decided to change your pathway. And then we obviously have college leavers that are straight from college that apply to work with us. So we do have a huge variety. It does change year on year, whether we have more college leavers and more career changers, but currently we're at a 40-60 split. Perfect. Next slide.
Yep, live.
Lovely. So you'll see here our lovely apprentices. You will see that 2020s are a little bit smaller than 2019s. We're all aware of lockdown and COVID restrictions. Unfortunately, when we were recruiting for 2020 apprentices, we were doing 2 what we call assessment centres, and unfortunately we had to cancel the second one due to COVID, and were unable to recruit any further as we got put on a recruitment freeze. So now we're out of our recruitment freeze, and we're really excited and happy to recruit for 2021. So we have 8 lovely apprentices for 2020 and 12 lovely apprentices for 2019. Just before I hand over to the apprentices to talk about their experience, I did quickly want to run through, which I don't have a slide for, but we can ask further questions if you've got them at the end, is our recruitment process. So I'll just quickly run through the steps. So firstly, you'll apply online, which I can show you where to apply online. And you can, there's either a Burgess Hill, which is in West Sussex, job rec for you to apply, or exactly the same job but in London. After you do that, you get screened by our recruiters. So they just check your CVs, make sure that that matches sort of the criteria that we're looking for to be an Amex apprentice. And then you have a Codility challenge. Now, this is a platform where you get asked 3 techie questions. They're set at a level 4, so it sort of should be at your skill set. Once we do that, and you have scored well, you then move on to the next step, which is an interview with me over WebEx, which is that platform I mentioned earlier. So it'll be a video interview. After that all goes well, you then get invited to Assessment Centre, which this year is a little bit different because it's all got to be virtual. So what we will do is you join the Assessment Centre, you'll have a welcome and an activity with me first, and then you have your first interview, which will be something we call a Who interview. And what is a Who interview? Is basically, it is finding out who you are as a person. So there'll be non-competency based questions. So no, name a time you've done this, or have you demonstrated X, Y, and Z? Nothing like that. It's just a really nice conversation led by our American Express colleagues to find out more about you. We then get a break, and then we move on to interview 2, to which will be a technical interview. So one of our engineers will be asking you a few questions and having a look at your Codility tests and how you got on with that. And then we have a panel talk with our senior leaders, our directors, our apprentices, which is really fun and useful to find out a bit more about us and our culture. After that, it's a pretty quick turnaround. We'll take a couple of days and deliberate over how you performed, and we'll speak to everyone that interviewed you. And then we're in contact pretty sharpish after that to offer you a position. So I know that's not on a slide, I'm very sorry, but those are our steps of recruitment. So with that all being said, I'm going to hand over to the lovely Z, who's going to talk about his experience at American Express, how he got here and what he's been getting up to. So if we could change the slide to Z's profile.
Cool. Hi, everyone. My name's Z. And maybe I'll start with how I got here. I went to university like 10 years ago or something, and I studied performing arts, which might as well have been called how to do, and I passed, got my degree, but that degree might as well have been how to do manual labor and random jobs or something. But after university, I just did random jobs: solar panel installation, roofer, gymnastics coach, until I was doing removals for 3 years, and I had a crisis. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, you should, I think you'd enjoy software, like engineering. I think you'd enjoy coding. So I went online, started practicing, found there's so much free, like there's so many free sites out there for you to learn on. And yeah, just started practicing, got to a stage where I could apply for the apprenticeship, and yeah, managed to get in, which was shocked me. My biggest learning from Amex is just how a big organization works, how the process of developing code on that scale, and just writing clean, good quality code in Java and Spring, and we use so many different languages and frameworks now, like it's crazy now. My role on my placement team, I'm just software engineer. I work on the back end, so I deal with I never see a website. I just deal with the logic and how something should work. I guess business logic would be the best way to describe it. Yeah, I think, so advice, I think that's like for anyone who wants to join the apprenticeship is don't worry about failing. Keep practicing, doing stuff. It's okay to get things wrong. I think people join teams and they never ask any questions that might make them look stupid. And I have turned out to be really good at making myself look stupid. So ask loads of questions. Don't worry about getting it wrong. I'd also say just practice. If you find a language you like, just make stuff. Keep practicing, messing around with it, experiment. You'll learn so much that way. And I have to stay humble, which I don't think is what I mean, but this is for the interview process. When you go in and you have your interviews, like, be yourself. If you show genuine interest in code and making stuff, people will see that, and you're more likely to get through that process. If you come in pretending to enjoy it, not only will you hate it later on, and you might start resenting your choices, but it shows to the interviewer. So yeah, just enjoy it and be yourself, be genuine. And my team, we're modernized, so we deal with accounts receivables, and I'm in a team called Mars, which is currently trying to modernize the accounts receivables platform, and it's really cool. We're using all the latest and greatest techniques. Yeah, that's me.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Z, for sharing. So you'll also see on Z's profile that he's only got 4 months left, and as I mentioned, he's entering his endpoint assessment. So Z's done incredibly well. And what I like about Z's profile is it shows you about career changes. What I mean by that, so studied something completely different, went into work, and decided to upskill and train himself ready to become a software engineer, which he's had the chance to at American Express. So thank you very much, Z. We'll move on to the lovely Chloe next.
Hi, so I'm Chloe. How did I get here? So I went to sixth form and I studied computer science, economics and Spanish. I did also study maths for a little bit, but I dropped that because it was too difficult. I did actually take it for GCSE as well. And at that time I had a week of work experience at a game studio that developed mobile games. It's called Full Fat. They do really cool games, and I had a lot of experience there. I did think that I wanted to be a games programmer, but I would definitely recommend work experience, because even if you don't get to see what you do want to do in the future, it can tell you what you don't want to do in the future, which is equally as important. Testing the water is really, really important. So I was familiar with Python, Swift, C#, HTML. A lot of that was in my syllabus, but also I did online courses in my spare time on Udemy, Code Academy, like Z said. And I just did them on topics I was interested in. It wasn't necessarily even coding. I think there was a few on like data analysis and stuff like that, that are around technology, but not specifically coding. So really, I'd say just learn about what you're interested in. It doesn't have to be specific to your future plan. So my role in my placement team is software engineer. I work in a team called TLS, specifically in the team at Opus. So what we do is we provide the software for customer service team that deals with the Platinum and Centurion card holders. We can book holidays, hotels, flights, car hire, everything basically on behalf of the card holder. So yeah, we provide the system for them to use and we maintain it. My biggest learning at Amex has been to ask questions constantly, because you just don't look stupid and you learn so much, and you expand your network that way. I've messaged so many random people in my first few months of Amex, like, can you help me please with this and this? And everyone is super, super lovely. So they're just happy to help you and happy to help you expand your knowledge. My advice to aspiring apprentices is just to actively learn as much as you can. There's so many resources online. Literally just Google programming courses or whatever you're interested in, and just tons of websites will come up. Some of them are paid, but they're reasonably cheap. Like on Udemy, you might pay like £10 or £15 for a course. But a lot of them are free. So I definitely seek out the free ones first. Even on YouTube, there's a lot. And my last thing is just be confident and take as many opportunities as possible. Don't be scared to take opportunities. It really is all about believing in yourself, because like Z said, he was really surprised he got the apprenticeship. I think everyone feels like they're not the best applicant or whatever, but just be confident, because you're probably doing better than you think.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing, Chloe. And last but not least, we've got the lovely Hugo.
Hey, yeah. So how did I get here? Growing up, I mainly just wanted to go in the Marines. I didn't have any interests in school or any interest in computer science. Ended up doing the little selection process they have to get in. Turned out I was a complete admin disaster. I never slept. Actually got nicknamed Dracula. And yeah, it just screws up your head when you don't sleep. So ended up getting discharged. Did a bunch of kind of dead-end jobs, to be honest. Then just came across this article about one of NASA's robots, and I was just kind of interested in the software behind that. So started learning programming and just went from there. Now, my role in my placement team, that's the same team as Z. So same project, just modernizing the accounts receivable systems. Biggest learning would be Agile. Did quite a bit of that in the boot camp, and obviously the team works following that methodology. And then in terms of advice, I would say I put this course there just because it really goes through the fundamentals of computer science. So if you learn that, no matter what you do, even if you don't join Amex, you're going to understand all the tech that sits beneath all these languages like Java that you're using, and you'll have a really like big picture idea. Well, you'll understand the big picture, and yeah, that's pretty useful. Obviously, don't get caught up on it. Like, even if you don't do the projects, just read the book. Yeah, it can be quite useful. You don't have to, of course, but you know, if this is what you want to do with your life, then you probably want to put in a lot of effort. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Hugo. So hopefully you've taken a bit of the advice and the learnings, and it's interesting to see the different pathways that our apprentices have gone through to get to where they are today. So now if we move on to the next slide, we are open for Q&A. I am aware, Simon, we ran a little bit over, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, if you've got any questions, we'd love to answer them.
No, absolutely fine to run over a little bit. It's fantastic presentation, guys. Really, really good, insightful. Hope everybody enjoyed it. So yeah, quite a few questions come in. So I'll just start from the bottom and sort of work my way up. Are you guys okay for time? Have we got sort of another 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, guys, do you want to turn your cameras on? Put a name to the faces.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So the first one is, what sort of projects do apprentices get to do?
Do you guys want to take that, what you're working on currently in your teams?
Yeah, sure. So in our teams, we're going through American Express is very old. It's quite old. It's been around for a while. So the technology it was built on is starting to get old and dated, and there's new techniques, more efficient ways of doing stuff. So me and Hugo are in a cool team which has got some funding last year to try and modernize it, to come up with a more efficient, better way of doing things. And you're trying to recreate something better without breaking it, and it's quite daunting and can be scary, but there's a lot of really good engineers on this, so that's what I'm working on with Hugo.
I am working with Opus. We just kind of maintain the system, but we have been integrating with a system called Encore, which is in the US. We've had a lot of US meetings, which is fun. They're a bit later on in the day because of the time change. And yeah, we've just been integrating the two systems basically, which is, yeah, really fun.
Cool. Someone asked, what's Java?
I am not an engineer, so I'm not going to even begin to say that. I just manage these lovely people. So, and again, an apprentice. Do you want to take a stab at what is Java?
Sure. So it's a general purpose programming language. Came out in, I think, 96, and pretty much instantly got adopted by big companies because of its has this approach called WARA, which is write once, run anywhere. So any platform that has this thing called a JVM can execute a Java program. So yeah, that's quite beneficial to the companies. And yeah, just object-oriented general purpose programming language used for all sorts.
Brilliant, thank you. Someone asked, what qualifications do students need to get onto your level 4?
Okay, so what I want to stress is that things can be flexible. So when I initially applied for my role at Amex, I definitely didn't meet the majority of the criteria that was on the job spec. However, I'm here nearly 6 years on and have moved on to multiple different job roles within the organisation. So what we look for is a GCSE in maths and English and a A-level in computer science. That's what you will see we would like. However, if you have got, like Hugo and Z, a real passion for technology, and you've done the work externally to sort of Chloe's route where she did it at GCSE and A-level, that really does shine through, and that's why we do the initial screening. So I want to make sure any aspiring Amex apprentices that you make explicitly clear on your CVs that your passion for tech and particular courses you may have done online, and also programming languages you're comfortable in. Because if we see no interest in tech or qualifications in tech, you probably won't get through to the next round. So even if you think, oh, you know, I didn't actually pick computer science, but I've been doing XYZ course online, pop it in your CV and you've got a much higher chance of getting through, because our biggest want from you is that passion and drive to learn and about technology. Okay,
brilliant. Thanks, Poppy. Somebody says, do you offer any finance apprenticeships?
So in the apprenticeship space, so Amex basically, guys, is split into two. So we are American Express Technology as one organisation, which is us. And then we have American Express, the business, which is basically everything else that's not tech. So we don't actually do a great deal with the business side. However, at the moment, American Express in the business side are only offering internal apprenticeships to upskill existing staff. So for the moment, no. I know when you get to graduate level, so if you wanted to apply for finance in a degree and you did that, we do have a graduate program for finance.
Wicked. Liam says, how do apprenticeships work with COVID? Is it home-based?
We are completely home-based. So we all came home to work in March, and we're not going back until June next year. So we're all going to stay at home. So for Z, he was with us a couple of months and then went virtual. Hugo and Chloe, the only thing they know is virtual. They started virtual and are going to be here for a long time virtual. So it works exactly the same. Don't get me wrong. We have technical issues like we experienced earlier and various different bits and bobs, but it is pretty smooth running. Maybe Hugo and Chloe could share how they found it.
So definitely it was new. We got sent really nice laptops though. To work on. Nice new MacBook Pros. They're really cool. And to be honest, everyone has managed really well with the whole virtual thing. I think a lot of feedback from Amex managers has been that like all the teams have worked really well working virtually, and it goes for like the same thing goes for the apprenticeship. You're welcomed into your team really well, like online, considering that you're not meeting people, you get to know people pretty well. So it's good.
Yeah, I haven't noticed. Hasn't felt weird at all. We often have like a WebEx chat open all day, so it's kind of like you're in an office with someone anyway.
So you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, the culture or anything like that. You know, you're quite happy.
Free coffee, maybe. That's
it. Anne says, will this be recorded so I can pass on to my students? Yes, Anne, it'll be fully recorded, and we'll host the webinar on careermap.co.uk probably tomorrow, so you can refer back to it at any time. Okay, Killian says, what's front end and back end when you're talking about development? Just if you could elaborate on that for those for Killian there, that'd be great.
One of you guys want to take it?
So front end is the website. It's the user interface. It's where you're coming in. It's what people will see. The back end is the side where all the logic, all that stuff happens. The stuff you don't see happen. So that's like the most simplest way of describing it, I guess. But,
yeah, that's fair enough. Alex says, do the modules change based on your interest in front or back end or full stack?
So the modules are fixed, but it covers all of them. So, you know, you may find back end really boring. Unfortunately, you got to learn it. It's a part of the curriculum. But, you know, next month it could be front end and the back end people find that boring. So you still get to experience everything. And let's remember, it's only a couple of days of your whole month that you'll be in that training. If you prefer front end, then you're going to be in a front end team. So your day-to-day job will be in front end.
Okay. Peter says, is there an age limit for application?
There is absolutely no age limit. So there is a minimum age, which is 17. So 17 and you can be 102 and join. So it literally is no age cap. We've had apprentices start at 17, and I think our oldest apprentice is 45. That we've ever had. So yeah, no age limit.
Charles says, have you got any hints and tips for his students for the sort of assessment centres and the sort of application process?
Yeah, so the assessment centre is very different to what we've previously experienced, because we've had to really mix things up for the virtual environment, because things that we did in the office just wouldn't work virtually. So like I said, the Who interview, just really be confident in speaking about yourself, your experiences, talk passionately. We really want to see that drive for you to learn. They are weighted, the interviews. So it's 60% tech, 40% Who. the technical interview, we are not this year getting you to redo a technical exercise. It will all be based on your Codility challenge, which is sort of the second thing you'll complete. So instead of redoing a whole new technical exam or questions, it's sort of like a maths test. So when you do a maths test, you've got to show your workings out, and then you've got to get the answer. So in the new technical challenge for the tech interview, it is basically an engineer asking you, okay, you got here, tell me how you got there. Show me your workings out. What was your thought process that aided you to get this answer? Say if you didn't score very good on one of the questions, you may actually pick up where you went wrong and be like, oh, if I could change this now, I would do X, Y, and Z to get to the correct answer. So it's nothing new, scary. I would say the biggest practice is just do some practice questions online and coding challenges online for the Codility, because that's the first sort of hurdle you've got to get over. But once you've done that, the assessment centre should be a breeze. It's sort of just talking through the work you've already done and talking about yourself.
Wicked, thank you. Peter says, is there any opportunity to travel to America within the business?
I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Business travel is a bit of a no-go at the moment. As you may know, apprenticeships are a government-funded UK initiative. So we don't have sort of this programme across seas in order to rotate. The only global programs that we have for early careers are graduates and interns, as it's quite commonly known across the globe. But we have had experiences where people complete their qualification. The US is much hotter on qualifications than we are in the UK. I think we're a bit more advanced in that space where you don't need a degree to do well and succeed. So I would definitely recommend completing your apprenticeship in the UK and getting that qualification. But when it comes to applying for perm roles, you know, you don't have to just apply for the UK. You could apply elsewhere if you wanted to go and test being a software engineer across seas. So that's that. But yeah, generally, only our VPs and senior leaders are going to be jumping on a plane and going to other countries.
Brilliant. Is there an opportunity to study for like a sponsored degree? Is there a sort of progression onto that?
To sponsor, sorry, what was that?
Is there an opportunity to be sponsored for a full degree after the program with you guys?
No. So currently I manage all tech apprenticeships. So I do an offering for internal staff of learning DevOps and getting a DevOps certification, which again is very hot property at the moment in the tech space. I'm also looking at doing a level 7, so that's a postgrad apprenticeship in machine learning and artificial intelligence. So again, if you secure, look at the apprentices' faces lighting up knowing these new opportunities are coming. So yeah, that can be all done. So, and as well, I have double checked that the postgrad one you can do after doing your level 4, because obviously level 7 to level 4 is a big gap in the middle, but because of experience and tenure you would have had through the apprenticeship, you'll be able to do the level 7. So we have internal offerings, but in sense of sponsorship to do the graduate stuff, no, it's not something we've got. I have looked into degree apprenticeships, but at the moment it would be to get a degree. So you'd do level 4 with us, and then you'd do the degree apprenticeship, which was 5 and 6 with a university. But the current apprentices, there's not a lot of buy-in from it. It's a much bigger commitment and a much longer time. So you generally find after level 4, people really want to get cracking with their job. And ditch the learning for a bit, maybe revisit it in a year or 2, but they really want to get stuck in with that permanent role. So at the moment, degree apprenticeships is there, but there's just not a need for it yet. So I hope that sort of answers your questions. But there's definitely other opportunities to upskill post apprenticeship.
Brilliant. John says, whereabouts in London are you based?
We're based in Victoria. It's super, super easy to get to because I hate the tube. So it's music to my ears. But yeah, literally we have 2 offices in Victoria. So we have Belgrave House, which is shared occupancy with Google. So that is literally, I always think of it from my platform because I'm coming from Sussex. When you come out of sort of where platform 17 is, there's a side door. You go out of there and across the road, it is there. Then if you walk round by the coach station, you see a WeWorks office space, which is a shared rental space. Again, it's shared with lots of different startups. Google's also got a presence there, and we've got quite a big presence there. So the chances are, if you secure the role in London, you'll be working in the WeWorks office, which means free alcohol after 3, free coffees. It's a great time. I do like going to that office for the day.
Can I come?
Yeah, I'll have a nice meeting there when we're allowed into the office, Simon.
Mohammed says, when and where can I apply?
When and where? Please apply now if you're interested. Our job is only open till Friday. So if you're interested, definitely get on there. If you type in Google American Express jobs and type in the search, when you get onto the landing page, either Burgess Hill or London, whatever campus you'd prefer, it will come up apprenticeship, junior software engineer for London, and click apply.
Or you can apply on CareerMap.co.uk.
Or you can apply on CareerMap.co.uk.
Nigel says, how has COVID impacted the business?
So COVID has obviously impacted the business quite a bit with business travel, corporate card usage, all of these different offerings. However, we have made 0 redundancies due to COVID. We have not decreased anyone's salary. We've made a few internal changes to stop our spending, which we just got to double think. Anything we budgeted for, we can still use that pot of money, but we have just got to think more carefully than maybe we once did, where we would go off and do various different bits and pieces. So we stopped something called Blue Rewards, which is an internal offering to colleagues. So Z's given me a helping hand. Normally, if these guys, we had Blue Rewards still, I'd give these guys some Blue Rewards for helping me out today on this presentation, which it has a monetary value, the other side, but that has been paused for the moment, sort of scaling back and just saving a bit of money. We've not been awfully impacted, but we're still strong. I think that's the great thing about being such a large organization. We're a bit of a dinosaur organization. We've been around for years. We've overcome all the different financial crises. And yeah, we're still very strong.
Solid, yeah. Okay, brilliant. Joel says, to the apprentices, what's the best bit about working for American Express?
Just see smiles. Come on, someone.
For me, it would be the...
Yeah, go for it, Hugo.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm. Go, Hugo.
For me, it would be the definitely the projects you get to work on. It's not everywhere we can work on projects that are used at such a big scale, and are just as interesting as these, really. It's not like if you join a startup, you're going to be working on a giant accounts receivable platform like Z and I have got to work on. It's pretty rare. So yeah, it would definitely just be the stuff that you get to work on.
Anyone else got anything they want to add?
Go, Chloe.
Yeah, I totally agree with Hugo. But to be honest, just working for American Express in general is quite cool. Like, they're a really cool company. They have some really cool concepts, and definitely the people at American Express are just amazing. Like, all your colleagues will be super, super lovely. I interviewed at like two other apprenticeships, and I just loved American Express. I could not get enough of like all the people and the environment that you're in the assessment center, like in office. So definitely they're just a really cool company to work with.
Yeah, I'd agree with both Hugo and Chloe. It's also the scale. you have so many people working there that if there's something you want to learn about or ask about, you can just message one person or into a chat of like 10,000 people, which is crazy. And then someone will be like, yeah, I'll give you a hand, and you can have a chat with them about whatever it is you're interested in. It's it's very cool, and the tech's very cool.
Brilliant. Are you guys pushed for time? So I've got quite a lot of questions. I mean,
I'm okay to stay on, guys. If you've got anything, you can just say.
No.
They don't really work. No, I'm joking.
Well, we'll just do another sort of 5 minutes or so if you want, and then.
Honestly, my time's fine. I've got it blocked out.
Andy says, my school is based in Hackney. Do you have any literature I can get to send to students about, obviously, the schemes and stuff?
Sorry, have you got any literature to send to schools?
Just students, yeah. He's a school based in Hackney. He says, have you got any literature that he could send out to his students, basically? Yeah,
so I think I don't, but what we usually send out is, and I get asked all the time, we can put the deck on, I don't know if it's still on, but a bit later, with our email address, which is uktechnologyapprenticeships.co.uk@aexp.com. And basically that forwards to us, and we get so many, like, how can I prep? What sort of courses are good to do? All of these different things. I've got a long list of them because I reach out to the grads and apprentices to get their feedback on what's current, what's good, as best practice. And that's what I usually share with everyone.
Brilliant. What was the email address again? I'll just put it in the chat. That's okay.
Yeah, it's UK Technology Apprenticeships with an S at aexp.com.
aexp.com.
Yeah.
I'd say a good book to read if you're interested in Java and want to get your just get some understanding of it, and it's really user friendly and good to read. It's Head First Java. That book is just, it's not super techy. It explains everything in a nice way, so you could easily read that. I reckon if I was 16, I'd read that.
Okay, thanks for that. Flash says, any tips for my CV when I apply? You think it's going to help make a standout?
Yes. I'm really sorry, guys. My door's just going and I have to answer it. So, joys of working from home. Thank you. Yeah, cheers. Thanks. So that it's just to put your sort of passion for technology through. So, like I said before, even if you haven't got the qualifications and what we screen for when we're doing the initial reviews is you know some languages, some basic fundamentals, maybe in your like a personal bio or something, or the reasons why tech, what your interests are, maybe some side projects you've been working on. So I just really want to see when I'm looking for these CVs is that passion coming through, and also for learning and that curiosity and that you're wanting to develop that.
Sounds good. Gavin says, sorry, my connection went. Can you just tell us the salaries again?
Yep. So Burgess Hill is 22,000 per year, plus those benefits that I was talking about, and also with the performance management process, which is a mid-year, an end year, and that gives you an annual bonus and an annual pay increase. London, same benefits, same pay increase and all that jazz, but 24,000 per year.
Okay, last couple of questions. Do you accommodate deaf candidates?
Deaf candidates? Yes, we do. We can accommodate for everyone. We're very inclusive, and we have a huge, diverse network of colleagues at American Express.
Julia says, can I start in September after she's finished college?
Yeah, so college students that are wanting to apply, you need to be in year 13. What's your second year of year 13, isn't it? Where you're in your second year of A-levels. So those would be the students to apply now. So apply, even though you're at college now, apply now because the job won't be starting till September 2021.
Okay. Helen says, what is a Scrum Master?
See, you've been a Scrum Master.
Yeah, so Scrum Master, so we work in an agile, it's called agile methodologies, right? So the Scrum Master is a role within a team, and you're pretty much like a coach, and you're trying to get everyone to the finish line and make sure people are doing their things. You're not their boss, you're not bossing them around, you're just there going, come on, you can do it, final push, oh, do you need help with that? You're really motivating people to get going, really. Our team, normally this is a set role, you are a Scrum Master and that's your job title, but in our team, it's a title that rotates around from member to member, so one of these days Hugo is going to get to do it.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Let's see. For the last one now, what is the difference between programming and coding?
Guys,
Nothing solid.
On a very... You go.
No, I was going to say it's the same thing, but yeah, it's just I would say it's the same thing. I don't think there's much of a difference. Just terms, right?
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same thing. I think coding technically is like where you don't have a whole program behind it. It's just the languages and like the basic logic of it. So a lot more kind of machine learning kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a slight difference. It's not really important.
Cool. Okay. Well, the rest are just people thanking you for the presentation, saying how very informative it was, and they'll share it with their students and stuff like that. So, yeah, I suppose it's time to wrap up. And I'd just like to say a big thanks to Poppy and the team for today's presentation. Fantastic stuff, guys. Well done. And like I said earlier, it's all been recorded and it'll be on careermap.co.uk. If you just go to the CareermapLive section of the website, you'll be able to watch it anytime you want. And like I said before, go and apply for the roles. They're closing soon, and good luck with everybody. And yeah, we'll sign off now. Thanks for coming.
great. Thanks so much for having us. And do email if you've got any further questions. I'll get back to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye.